Good morning, or I'm sorry, good afternoon, actually. I want to welcome you to the January 8, 2018 meeting of the Orlando City Council. This is our first meeting of the new year, so happy New Year to all in attendance. We're going to begin today's proceedings with the invocation, and today it's being offered by one of my favorite bishops, maybe my very favorite bishop in all of Orlando, Bishop Alan T.D. Wiggins, who is the senior pastor at the Hope Church. I consider myself an honorary, if not an official, Hopealite, which is located in the Washington Shores community of Orlando. Hope Church was founded by his parents, the late Dr. R.W. and Beulah Wiggins, and has celebrated over 3 decades of ministry. Bishop Wiggins has played a notable role in aiding residential and commercial growth on the west side of Orlando, which has resulted in the creation of safe, affordable housing for hundreds of families, enhanced economic development opportunities. He's also hosting and facilitating a seamless educational pipeline, starting with early Head Start, and a K-8 high-performing charter school on the Hope Center West Campus. He has a Bachelor in Science in Pharmacy, which I actually did not know that, in pharmacy. Oh, yeah. And is a graduate of the DeVos Urban Leadership Institute, has an honorary Doctor of Divinity, and has a Doctor of Philosophy. He was recently elevated to the office of Archbishop and presiding prelate of the International Bishops Conference. He and his wife, Lady Deborah Wiggins, are proud parents of 5 children, and he plays a very mean saxophone. After Archbishop Wiggins' invocation will be led in the Pledge of Allegiance today by Commissioner Jim Gray.
Let us pray. Almighty God, from whom all blessings flow, this is the day that you have made. We are rejoicing simply because you've allowed us to be a part of it. We know that it's an honor to serve you by serving our fellow man. So we are pleased today to take a moment and pause to say thank you. We appreciate you for giving us the vestiges of hope and empowerment to lead in this era. And we count it a privilege to have the opportunity to enhance the quality of life for all people, including the distressed, the displaced, and the disenfranchised. Your Holy Scripture teaches us that let every soul be in subjection to the higher authorities, for there is no authority except from you, and those who exist are ordained by you. So it is in this light we lay aside petty differences in the pursuit of a higher purpose. That purpose is for a just and peaceful society. It is in this light that we protect the unalienable rights of life and liberty and pursuit of happiness. It is in this light that, in the words of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., we know the time is always right to do what is right. So ever impress upon us all to stand on the side of righteousness, because your holy word reminds us that righteousness exalts a nation, but sin is a reproach to any people. Now bless and protect our dear mayor, our honorable council members and supportive teams on every tier, granting to them the wisdom and grace that only you can give as they confront hard subjects striving for unity. Protect them and their families from those with evil intentions. We pray for our leaders and laity, our law enforcement. I pray, God, that now that our latter years will be greater than our former years, with this new year, 2018, being a notable demarcation in time. We thank you in advance for the better that's before us. In the name of the one who is almighty and holy, I present this prayer in Jesus' name, and I say thank you, God, for even considering this prayer, and I say thank you for accepting it. Amen.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Bishop. I'll now call the meeting to order. Madam Clerk, would you call the roll and make a determination of quorum, please?
Commissioner Gray.
Here.
Commissioner Ortiz.
Here.
Commissioner Stewart.
Here.
Commissioner Sheehan.
Here.
Commissioner Hill.
Here.
Commissioner Ings.
Here.
Mayor Dyer.
Here.
Mayor, you have a quorum with all members present.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Let's take up for consideration the meeting minutes and the workshop agenda review and city council meeting of December 11th.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Sheehan, second by Commissioner Hill. All in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, and so the motion carries. That brings us right to the best part of the program, awards, presentations, and recognitions. And we're going to start by proclaiming Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Holiday Week, and I'm going to have Marcia do the introductions there, but I want to take note that I think we have the entirety of our Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Commission here with us today, as well as some of the sponsors and city employees who support the commission. And we had the first event, our kickoff event, which was the the candlelight vigil walking from City Hall to Shiloh Baptist Church. Last night we alternate the churches that we have participating in that annual event, but it was tremendous. It's a multi-denominational service, and there were representations from probably, I don't know, 10 or 15 different religions, and it was a great service. And I actually learned something new. I've been going over to the church for a long time and did not know that Martin Luther King Jr. had spoken at Shiloh at some point, and that his father had also spoken at Shiloh. So we got a little history lesson last night, as well as the service itself. So even when you've been here 16 or 17 years, you can still learn something new. How about that? Marcia?
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you for being with us last night, and also Commissioner Stewart and Commissioner Ings. Glad that you all could join us as well. Mayor, it is an honor every year for me to have the opportunity, and also my team in the Office of Community Affairs and Human Relations, working with our partners in your office as well, to present the commission and also to have them share with you some of the great things that they have planned, because they've been working on these plans for most of the year. And I'd like to just take a moment of privilege to introduce the members of the MLK Commission. This is the Mayor of Orlando's MLK Commission. And if you would just stand, and I'll go quickly, but I want everyone to recognize you for all the hard work and dedication. Dr. King said that everyone can serve, and these are people of service. So let me start with Vicki Brooks, who may be one of the longest running members of the committee. She's a member at large, formerly OCPS, and a retired member of the OCPS team. Patricia Broussard, Dr. Broussard is here from Florida A&M University. We also have with us Michelle Dorsian, who is with the Greater Haitian American Chamber of Commerce. Also with us, Chrisita Jackson, who is a member at large and started with Bell South when she started some years ago, maybe 18 as well, like she tells me. Corey Johnson, who is our signature sponsor from the Orlando Utilities, the reliable and sustainable one, got it. And we also have with us Jean Martin, who is here representing the Orlando Magic. Jean has been with us for a while, and Lee Nemkoff, who is one of our longstanding members, who is with Brio Properties. Don Afodele, who is with the University of Central Florida, representing them. We also have with us Courtney Powell, who is with ACE Applications. That's Courtney's company. And then I think we also have Marisol Romani, and Marisol is with Orlando Health. And we have also with us Catherine Brownlee, who is formerly with the Junior League, past president and member at large. We have Leon Gant, who is here as representative of the Golf Channel. We have Rick Whitted, and Rick is representing J.P. Morgan Chase, his company. And we have Tom Yeagers, who is representing the board of the Orlando LGBT Chamber of Commerce. And then I think we have over there Billy Lewis, who is representing the Corporation for National and Community Service, which has its state office here in Orlando. And Anna McPherson, I know Anna's there. She is the current president of the Junior League of Orlando. And I think if I've covered everyone, oh, hello, Kyle Alexander. She's too short, I couldn't see her. Kyle Alexander is a new member of the MLK Commission representing Walt Disney World, which is another one of our primary sponsors, sponsoring the humanitarian event in February. And then, so I would like to ask also Brandy Han, who is the chair of the MLK Commission. I'm going to have Brandy come up and just give you a quick overview of some of the things happening. But would you join me in thanking them for their service? Brandy?
Thank you, Marcia. Good afternoon, Mayor. Good afternoon, council members. We appreciate the opportunity to be with y'all here again today to share with you about a great season of upcoming MLK holiday events. As you know, and as the mayor said, we began last night with a brief program and then walked to Shiloh Baptist Church for an uplifting interfaith service. The Orlando Mayor's Martin Luther King Jr. Commission strengthens our community by promoting Dr. King's legacy of equality, justice, peace, respect, and inclusion for all. As Marcia indicated, the commission is made up of incredible, outstanding volunteers from the public, private, and not-for-profit sectors. This is the 32nd year of the MLK Commission. And while none of us have officially been involved with the commission that long, there are two people who have been with the city and involved with the commission for 25 years. When I first began serving on the commission a few years ago, the commission was supported by Walter Hawkins. I'm sure you saw him last night. He continues to support our work and our mission in any way that he can. The other is Marcia Hope Goodwin, who leads the Office of Community Affairs and Human Relations, and whose office is currently responsible for our primary city support. Mayor, your MLK Commission would like to publicly thank Walter and Marcia for their support and commitment to serving our community and your MLK Commission for 25 years. Thank you. In addition, we are gratefully supported by Reggie McGill, Lizette Feliciano, Gwen Wiggins, the rest of Marcia's office, as well as many other departments throughout the city. As you know, part of our work is raising funds to support various community events. The names of our 2018 sponsors are on the calendar, on our website, on the back of the T-shirts, and will be displayed at all upcoming events. There's also a board out front that has all of them. Please take a note of them. We are delighted that several sponsors are here today. Time doesn't permit us to name all of them, as you see there are a lot, but we want to especially recognize our drum major signature sponsor, OUC, the reliable and sustainable one, our humanitarian award service sponsor, Walt Disney World, and our equality sponsor, Wayne Dench Charities. Would all MLK Commission sponsors please rise so that we may thank you? Thank you. We couldn't do it without your support, so thank you very much. The Commission has supported in some way over 24 events that began last night and will conclude on February the 10th with our humanitarian award service. This year, there will be several great days of service on the King holiday, and we anticipate that there will be over 800 volunteers on site at the various locations. We've asked all members of the community to join us by participating in a food drive to benefit OCPS students. We are also excited about the free large gospel concert on January 18th and invite everyone to join us. Information for all of these events can be found on the city's website and on mlkorlando.com. The Commission has had a lot of partners with all of our activities over the years. We've continued our longstanding partnership with the Interfaith Council of Central Florida, the Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity, the Southwest Orlando JCs, Central Florida YMCA, and Disney. We appreciate the help of them, as well as your office, Mayor, each council member, the Office of Communications and Neighborhood Relations, Family Parks, Recs, and of course, Marcia's office. We want to especially thank Bob Fish and Jan Rahill for their annual support of the Great Day of Service projects. Mayor, in an effort to increase your call, to follow your call to increase the awareness and participation, as we continue to work on keeping Orlando the city of unity and inclusion. We have new pins and glow-in-the-dark wristbands for each council member. Marcia is going to play Vanna for us. And T-shirts have been delivered to each one of your offices. Your commission, Mayor, thanks you for your ongoing support and recognition of the importance of our mission and the work we do for our community. At this time, I understand you have a proclamation.
I do indeed. City of Orlando proclamation, whereas January 15, 2018 is the national holiday to observe the birthday of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., one of America's greatest visionary leaders who peacefully created civil rights activism in our nation through nonviolent means. And whereas since 1986, the Mayor's Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Commission, an appointed Citizen Advisory Board, has worked diligently to promote Dr. King's legacy of equality, justice, peace, respect, and inclusion for all in Metro Orlando. And whereas 2018 marks the 50th anniversary of one of the most tragic, catalytic, meaningful events in American history, the assassination of Dr. King and the founding of the Martin Luther King Jr. Center for Nonviolent Social Change, known as the King Center in Atlanta. In April, individuals and organizations in Orlando and around the world will host events to commemorate this momentous year. And whereas the City of Orlando celebrates Dr. King's legacy, the Mayor's Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Commission and I encourage all Central Florida residents to participate in a variety of 2018 MLK holiday activities. Now, therefore, I, Buddy Dyer, Mayor of the City of Orlando, hereby do proclaim January 7th through the 15th as Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Holiday Week in the City of Orlando.
Thank you, ma'am.
If all the commission members would come down, and then we're going to have a picture in a moment with the sponsors in just a few moments. And our staff that supports the commission, come on down.
Saying nothing. I ain't saying nothing. Happy New Year to you too. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. Good to be with you, girl. I love to see your smiling face. So far. I'll change that.
Yes, exactly. There's still time.
You're still time. Yeah.
Okay, our welcoming, inclusive community attracts visitors from all around the world, and today we are happy to have some special guests from Haiti at the meeting with us today, learning more about our city, and Commissioner Ings is going to introduce the delegation and read a proclamation to mark this occasion. Commissioner Ings.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor Dyer. First of all, Mayor Ronnie Collin of the city of Guadalupe is not able to be with us here today, but we do have Consul General Pierre Max Charles of the Haitian consulate that's here and will accept the proclamation. And I'll go right into the proclamation. As a matter of fact, Mayor Collin had an opportunity to welcome the new Archbishop of Haiti, Monsignor Max Leroy Mesidor, and they had a celebration there in Haiti to welcome him this past Saturday, January 6, 2018. So he wasn't able to be here in Orlando. The Archbishop was appointed by Pope Francis on October 7th, 2017. And so the Monsignor was making his rounds into Haiti, and specifically Port-au-Prince and Croix-des-Bouquets. So with that, I'll read the proclamation. City of Orlando, Office of the Mayor. Whereas on Monday, January 1st, 2018, all of the Republic of Haiti commemorated and celebrated the 214th anniversary of Haiti's independence, January 1, 1804. On that day, Haiti made history by being the first black country to gain its independence. And whereas the city of Croix-des-Bouquets, Haiti is referred to as the City of Peace and is a member of the International Cities of Peace organization. And whereas the city of Croix-des-Bouquets, Haiti is located 12.9 kilometers to the northeast of Haiti's capital city, Port-au-Prince, and has a population of 812,000. And whereas the city of Croix-des-Bouquets, Haiti was originally located on the shore, and after the 1770 Port-au-Prince earthquake, it was relocated inland. Because of this, it was not as badly affected by the 2010 Haiti earthquake. And whereas the city of Croix-des-Bouquets, Haiti, is a good example of Haitian creativity, it resonates with the sounds of clanging and banging of the mallets and chisels and the process of transforming raw metal into stunning and often haunting iron sculptures. And the city of Croix-des-Bouquets, Haiti, is on the plain des cul-de-sac where many people grow organic food such as beans, sweet potatoes, and corn. And whereas Wyclef Jean, a Haitian rapper and musician who was a member of the trio The Fugees, was born in the city of Croix-des-Bouquets and lived there until he was 9 years old. And whereas the Haitian American Caucus runs the Peace Be With You School of Brothers in Macad, a small community in Croix-des-Bouquets, the school is also known as the Alpha Academy and is funded in part by the Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity. The school was established in 2003. And whereas the Honorable Ronnie Collin is the mayor of the city of Croix-des-Bouquets, the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Haiti, the Honorable Antonio Rodriguez, is desirous of establishing an alliance of partnership, solidarity, and building a friendly relationship with the city of Orlando, Florida. Now, therefore, we, Buddy Dyer, Mayor of the City of Orlando, and Samuel B. Ings, District 6 City Commissioner, hereby do proclaim January 8th, 2018 as the City of Croix-des-Bouquets Day, Haiti Day in the City of Orlando.
Okay, let's move right into the mayor's update. And tomorrow marks 1 year since the passing of Orlando Police Department Lieutenant Deborah Clayton. And I hope that you can join us as we honor Lieutenant Clayton and her legacy of impacting our city's residents. I'll be joining the chief for a half-mile community walk that will begin at 4 p.m. at our Hankins Neighborhood Center. Our community will certainly never forget Lieutenant Clayton, as well as Orange County Sheriff's Office Deputy First Class Norman Lewis, who also lost his life on that same day. We'll always remember and never forget her impact, and I think tomorrow's community walk will be a good way to remember her and honor her. So please join the chief and I for that if you have the opportunity to do that. Okay, we have all been affected by Hurricane Maria and the relief effort as we try to help the Puerto Rican citizens who are coming to Florida, as well as those who remain on the island. And today I would like to recognize the members of the Orlando Police Department who recently deployed to Puerto Rico. Maria devastated Puerto Rico. I think half the island is still without power. We've been assisting evacuees, but just as importantly, those who remain on the island. As part of the effort to help those on the island, the Puerto Rico FEMA request for law enforcement assistance, 12 of our OPD officers were deployed for almost 2 weeks. Deputy Chief Orlando Rolon led that effort, and I've asked all of the officers who participated to join us today, and I've asked Deputy Chief Rolon to give us an update, and we thank you all for your outstanding work. Orlando?
Thank you, Mayor, Commissioners. I would like to start by introducing them. Sergeant Anthony Buffkin. Officer Juan Pomales. Officer Jorge Rodriguez. Officer Kevin Lopez. Officer Cesar Hernandez. Officer Ryan Goody. Officer Young Hall. Master Police Officer Rob Andrews. Officer Lloyd Orenish. Officer Alex Rivera. And Officer Cecil Florence. You can sit. These officers represent someone who was either born in Puerto Rico, lived in Puerto Rico, worked in Puerto Rico, has family in Puerto Rico, or has someone very close to their family as a member of the Puerto Rican citizens that were affected by Hurricane Maria. Preparing for this deployment of this type requires a lot of planning. It also requires a lot of support. Thank you, Mayor Dyer, CAO Byron Brooks, Chief Mina, for allowing this deployment. In addition, the Orlando Police Department Supply Unit, the Quartermaster Unit, for putting a large order of our needs together very quickly. For the Orlando Fire Department that actually put first aid kits, trauma kits, just in case we needed those in Puerto Rico. We actually left those behind. They have a dire need for that type of stuff there. And they were very glad that we left them behind. Fan Emblem for putting our uniform orders together. It was a pretty hefty task, and they got it done really quick. Lieutenant Doug Gerke, would you please rise? Lieutenant Doug Gerke provided our flying arm training. We were armed as we were flying to and from Puerto Rico, and he also coordinated all of our flights scheduling to and from Puerto Rico. Thank you, Doug. Mr. John Niebling with JetBlue, Manager of Corporate Security, if you would please, if you would rise. And the entire JetBlue organization, I mean, they could have not done more to get us ready for this trip, accommodating all of our needs, last-minute requests for tickets or seats so that we could make this possible. Absolutely outstanding customer service from the JetBlue team. And he is joined by JetBlue's Corporate Security Director, Loretta Kennedy. She's back there. There you go. And also the Vice President, Keith Slaughter. Thank you very much for everything you did. Our deployment dates were December 4th through the 15th, and on behalf of Mayor Dyer, City Council, Chief Mina, and all city employees, we actually delivered the city flag and a letter from the mayor to Governor Ricardo Rosselló. The detail was assigned to the city of Carolina. About 175,000 residents live there, and is also the home of baseball legend Roberto Clemente. We work 12-hour shifts from about 5:30 in the morning to 5:30 in the afternoon every day. And our duties were mainly patrol and traffic posts. A lot of people don't know that about 80,000 utility poles were damaged or destroyed in Puerto Rico, which then cost about 400, when we were there, 400 major intersections to be without power, without traffic signals. The highlights. The Puerto Rico police were great hosts during our visits and expressed much appreciation for our assistance while we were there. Puerto Rico, the police department has approximately 13,000 currently, 13,000 police officers. That's not counting the municipalities. And although restoration of power and water continues, many citizens have not had power for over 100 days. It's just amazing. And many of the police officers were affected by that also. Our officers represented our city department with the utmost professionalism. I could not be more proud of them. If you would please join me in giving them a hand. Some of our officers had the opportunity to briefly meet with family members and are grateful the city, the department, gave them the privilege to be part of this deployment. Thank you again. So most impressive to us was everywhere we went, we were greeted with a smile. And considering the challenges that Puerto Rico's facing, the people seemed to choose to be cheerful and upbeat. It was very, very surprising to us all. What was most rewarding to us all also was the 2 humanitarian missions that we did in the town of Trujillo Alto, where we were able to assist with the distribution of food and water. We also made a personal collection, and we went to one of the local Walmarts, bought a bunch of school supplies, and were able to deliver those to kindergartners. 3 classrooms, about 60 students received the proceeds of the officers' good gesture. This deployment reminded all of us of how fortunate we are to live in Central Florida and how blessed we are to be part of the city of Orlando. You have made public safety your top priority. During our time in Puerto Rico, it was clear to us that due to your leadership, we are all proud to be employees of the city of Orlando. Although we would do it again in a heartbeat, Georgina already told me I'm not going away for a long-term deployment anytime soon. I did miss her a lot, and I'm glad to be home. We took over 1,000 photos and videos during our deployment. Everyone just shared their photos and pictures that they took and videos. And Officer Lloyd Arenish created the following presentation, which Ed is going to turn on now. thank you again for allowing us to be part of this rewarding experience. Thank you.
Thank you, Orlando. We're so proud of you guys. I mentioned OUC at an OUC meeting. They deployed line people. I don't know whether you guys overlapped or not, but they were there for several weeks as well. And we've had a number of natural catastrophes, as well as obviously a terrorist event in our community where the nation and the world really has rallied around us here in Orlando. So I'm so proud when we can pay that forward and help other people in need by going to Puerto Rico, as you guys did. So you make all of us proud here in Orlando, and especially the city of Orlando. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you.
Mayor, I think it would be good for you to stand out front and take a picture with the officers, and the council to stand behind you.
You want to be in a picture, Commissioner?
Well, I'm gonna be behind you.
We can do that. Come on down, guys.
He's working hard to get the picture. Worse than me. Worse than me.
Trying to make all y'all look good. Yeah, right there.
She definitely said no.
That was emphatic.
Okay, I just have two more things. 1 week ago was January the 1st, and Orlando's hometown team became Orlando's perfect hometown team as the University of Central Florida Knights defeated Auburn in the Peach Bowl to finish undefeated, and we will crown them national champions tonight on Church Street. And I'm a Gator, and I'm saying we're going to crown a national champion here while two SEC teams play for the consolation prize and that other game tonight. But I would say one of the even cooler things that seems to get downplayed in the national championship rhetoric is the fact that I don't think there's ever been a team in the history of college football that went winless in a year and then 2 years later went undefeated. So I don't know of one, and I've looked a little bit. So I think that's as great an accomplishment as anything. So we'll be celebrating our Knights with a free block party on Church Street that begins at 6, and I hope that you can join us there this evening. And then lastly, I did a picture. I was not able to attend the first production of our new Farmers Market in Paramore at the Orlando City Soccer Stadium. And I know Commissioner Hill did, so she'll probably report more on that. But I do want to mention that our Paramore Kids Zone kids are now entrepreneurs, and they are packaging and marketing and selling black bee honey, which is orange blossom honey. And they sold over $2,000 worth on Saturday at the farmers market. So how about that for our little entrepreneur program we got going on? And you'll elaborate, Commissioner?
Sure will. They even
Okay.
have something good for the prostate. That's pretty good.
Okay, that's fabulous. We're going to move on to the consent agenda. And that's a number of items that are voted on through a single vote of council, and we give each of our commissioners an opportunity to comment on the consent agenda and other items of importance from their districts. We rotate the order that we do that, and we're going to begin with District 1. And before we do that, I would be remiss in not publicly again congratulating and thanking our district commissioners from 1, 3, and 5 who were sworn in again in each of their cases, and offered some remarks this morning that I think all of us took to heart about working together and building community and how we're strong as a team. So I appreciate each of you, and congratulations again. Commissioner Gray?
Thank you, Mayor, very much. I think I wore out my welcome this morning, so I'll be very brief. I do want to just give some thanks and kudos to our team on an event that happened back in December 16th. You've heard me talk about it before, but it's the Frank and Selena Nobilo Foundation, who annually get together and take some kids shopping to give them a chance to participate in the holiday festivities. And they formed a foundation. Ed. Frank is a former professional golfer and now an announcer at the Golf Channel. You may recognize that name, Frank Nobilo. But, grew up in kind of some tough situations and said, look, if I ever get an opportunity that I can give back, I'm going to do it. So they formed a foundation. They have really two initiatives. One is they organize volunteers to go into a local school every week to give the teachers an hour break, and the volunteers read to the kids. And to help incentivize the kids with grades and behavior and attendance, they take them shopping once a year at the local Target store, give them a $100 gift card and turn them loose. And we've done it for, I think this is our 4th year. And I just wanted to thank Ed Richter and Rebecca Fernandez and Cindy Light from the staff team. My team and all their spouses showed up at 5:30 in the morning to take these kids shopping. But I think Ed put it in perspective quite well. He said, Jim, these kids are told no quite often. You can't have this, you can't have that. And to see a kid have $100 that they can buy anything that's appropriate is kind of neat to watch them do that. So anyway, I just wanted to thank the staff for rising out of bed at 5:30 in the morning to help make a great time. I asked Frank and Selena to come in, but as you may know, the PGA Tour is in Hawaii this month, and he said, Jim, love to come and see you, pal, but I'm going to Hawaii. So anyway, with that, Mayor, I'll have a comment on one of the agenda items later, but that's all I have. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Commissioner. We'll move to District 2, Commissioner Ortiz.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to start by congratulating Commissioner Gregg, Commissioner Stewart, Commissioner Regina Hill on their oath of office this morning. Another 4 years of fun.
Yes.
And great work. Look forward to continue being your neighbor at the commission, and also to keep working along with you side by side for the benefit of our beautiful, beautiful city. As a proud alumni of the University of Central Florida, I want to congratulate our UCF football team. I'm sorry I'm not congratulating FSU or UF, but I'm for their amazing win against Auburn on January 1st. That made them the winners of the 2018 Peach Bowl. In addition, I want everyone to know, I don't care what some people might say, but we are not only the Peach Bowl winners, we are also the undefeated national champions. I don't care if it's recognized or not recognized as such, we are the national champions, and we're going to keep proving that. UCF, #1. So, on another note, I want to thank National Latino Peace Officers Association, NLPOA, for another successful Three Kings Day and for the commitment this organization had provided over the years. Families enjoy giveaways, dental services, haircuts, and a lot of fun at the Azalea Park Elementary School this past weekend. And last but not least, last Wednesday, I had the pleasure to meet with City of Boston Councilman Judge Zakim, Police Legal Advisor Amy E. Condon from the mayor's staff, Policy and Communications Advisor Ann Lee, and Director of Intergovernmental Relations Katie King. We discussed a number of subjects. Among them were the Trust Act, law enforcement, collaboration between our cities, and other issues. And I want to thank these individuals for their welcoming, hospitality, and taking the time for just not only show me the outline of everything they've done over there, which was a great eye-opening, but I'm looking forward to our collaboration. That was great. And along that subject, I don't usually talk about incidents that happen in the city, but I was very disturbed, especially since we're talking about this subject. This past couple of days, we had an incident at our district where a group of people did a home invasion on the home of some undocumented people, and that was not good. It was not good for our citizenship. It was not good for our city. But what bothers me the most is the fact that the undocumented people were afraid of pressing charges because they were afraid of being deported. That's not the way we do business here. That's not humane. We're not here to let people take advantage of others in the midst of their circumstances, especially when they're hardworking people that are seeing themselves under circumstances that are beyond their control. We need to step up and do what is right for our community. So with this, I urge our team here, our staff, Mayor, for us to, as soon as we get a chance, to move forward with this Trust Act. Thank you.
Commissioner Stewart?
Thank you, Mayor. Let me first offer everybody a happy new year, a great 2018. During the month of December, we had a passing of one of our strong supporters in our city, Ginger Malcolm. I'm going to share a little bit. I know that Commissioner Sheehan will share a little bit more. I knew Ginger because she was involved in our Rotary Club. That's how I first met her years ago. And she was active in the Rotary Club, active in Neighborhood Watch, and of course active here in the city. So Ginger is a friend of mine, and I'm sorry for her passing. It'll be a celebration this week, and Commissioner Sheehan will share a little bit more about that. And she was very active in our Chapter 57 group here in the city of Orlando. Along the same lines, our nation and our city lost an icon. John Young passed away this past week. John Young, we all have stories about John Young and remember John Young Parkway and all the rest of that stuff, but John Young and I have a unique connection. We both went to the same elementary school, and his fourth grade teacher in her first year of teaching was my same fourth grade teacher in her last year of teaching. And the year that we taught was the year that he was announced as a Gemini pilot, and I had a chance to stand literally on the front steps of his mother and father's house as he was being blasted off into space. So I've got a wonderful connection with the family. But we lost an icon in our country, which taught us to strive higher and to do that in a way that brings everybody along. So I want to tell you how much I'm going to miss him. I know that he was a personal friend with Joe Kittinger, because they were one day off from each other. So that's not me, so that's good news. Congratulations to Commissioner Gray and Commissioner Hill. Thank y'all for the willingness to serve, and I get a chance to serve with you for 4 more years. So I'm excited about that. Congrats to UCF. I feel like the mayor as a Gator. I'll change my allegiance for a team that goes undefeated and goes 13-0. That's okay with me. I'll change my allegiance for that.
I like that.
And of course, thank you to our District 3 residents for having confidence in me to return me back to office. 2 quick things I want to share with you. The Legos have invaded Lou Gardens. If you hadn't had a chance to look yet, it'll be there through April. Get a chance to go over. A guy by the name of Sean Kinney was the artist. You'll be fascinated to know that all of those pieces of art done by Lego were done not by computer design. They were done by him personally, and then they were then copied for other shows around the country. It's a very creative way to do it, and the city had a chance to support it. I had a chance to support it from my budget, as well as Commissioner Sheehan and some other groups around the city. So we're thrilled about that, and also thrilled about the increased number of people that will be attending the garden and seeing the garden over there. And the other thing I want to mention to you going on in our district is Otronicon. Otronicon starts January 12th, goes through the 15th, and it is a technology experience like no other. It is going from coding to gaming to simulation to medical technology. If you want to know what's going on in STEM technology today, if you've got a child that you would like to get engaged in STEM technology, please come this weekend. You pay a little bit extra money, but you see the latest stuff that's happening throughout the country, both from military to private sector, and it'll be a wonderful way for you to come. You can buy tickets on the Orlando Science Center website at osc.org. And I've got some other comments later on in the hearings, Mayor, but thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Commissioner. Move to District 4, Commissioner Sheehan.
Well, thank you, Mayor Dyer, and I'd like to also congratulate my colleagues Gray, Stewart, and Commissioner Hill, and I look forward to working with you all. And I did love the words this morning, and I hope we can walk that talk, because again, the federal government's a hot mess. State government, everybody's always sniping and fighting with each other, but even though we do have differences, we do tend to work them out, which I really do appreciate. So thanks, congratulations to my colleagues again, and I really enjoyed the words as well. UCF, I got to tell you, when I went to UCF, we were a little commuter school. We just renamed ourselves from FTU, and everybody kind of joked and laughed at us, you know, because we were the commuter school and we were the kids that didn't have enough money to go to a real university. And I just love seeing the growth that's happened at UCF. And I see Commissioner Ortiz smiling down there, because we're kind of in the same boat. And, you know, it's just great to see something like, what an exciting game. So sorry I didn't make the Notre Dame game, but boy, I stayed home and watched that UCF game, and I think the whole neighborhood could hear me hollering out my TV, but that was amazing. And congratulations, Knights, because I know it's been a long, hard haul to build a university that's of national prominence, and it's really exciting to be an alumni of UCF as well. On the agenda today, we have a 603 East Ridgewood Street, which is a historic property tax exemption. I'm glad to see a lot of our residents restoring historic properties and taking advantage of that. Want to congratulate Tyler Chandler for being promoted and welcome Daniel Tafali as a new after-school All-Stars Executive Director. And I look forward to participating and honoring Lieutenant Clayton's legacy, because she did so much for this community, and we need to continue to honor her and remember her family and support them. And as Commissioner Stewart said, Ginger Malcolm was a long-time community activist, volunteer. Ginger was blind, but she was never disabled. She did so much to help others and used her time to help youth and the Zebra Coalition and kids who didn't feel comfortable in their own skin. She really helped them find acceptance. And even here in City Hall, at first when I came here as an openly gay commissioner, I didn't always have the acceptance that I thought I would have. And allies like Ginger would just come in and say, "What's the big deal? We're all in this together." And she was just an amazing spirit, an amazing human being, and it's a very sad loss for this community, but we'll be honoring her legacy. Celebration Gardens at 5:30 on Wednesday, and Ginger, we will certainly miss you, and rest in heaven. That's all I had, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Move to District 5, Commissioner Hill.
Thank you, Mayor. I also want to congratulate Commissioner Gray and Commissioner Stewart, and I look forward to the next 4 years serving with my colleagues and the mayor here on council. So the closing of 2017, it was steady. I'd like to thank Chief Mina and OPD and the men and women that serve this great city. I truly believe I heard over the holidays, Chief Mina, you're talking about how crime has gone down. And it wasn't about incarceration. It was more about community, with the police officers now engaging in the community and the community feeling as one and calling in tips and just following through. And I truly believe it's because of your 21st century policing. You really have a lot of great initiatives out there where it's real community engagement. We were able to serve over 200 kids there in Paramore, gave away about 25 bikes. There was face painting, there was gingerbread houses being made. Carter Street HOA, which has been working with the OPD, fighting crime there in the community, was serving food, but it was just a festive time. We even had a black Santa Claus. I just had to throw that in. But yeah, it was a beautiful sight, and to see the men and women even enjoying themselves. It wasn't as if they just had to be there, that you made them come. they really was involved. So just thank you for all that you're doing in your leadership, and I thank OPD men and women for their service. We also had a District 5 annual Angel Tree event at Majestic Life on December the 16th. And that was for children whose parents were incarcerated. We served about 125 youth over there with activities. And it was just good to see those grandparents and those children that might have been missing a parent or feeling abandoned, knowing that we cared. Once again, OPD came out, and the kids was really, really excited about your K9 a dog that came and gave some barked and just ran around. We kept him safe, though. We kept him safe from the kids. And then I'd like to thank Florida Citrus Sports for assisting me with the Forever Family Christmas on December the 23rd, along with Coladoc and the Masonic Kings Lodge. This year, I wanted to do something a little bit different, in which we went out and got 100 names from children that were teenagers in foster care. And we went to group homes and to the Boys Town, kids that was somewhat in the middle of the system, and we brought them all to the varsity club and gave them a red carpet Christmas. Had about a day party for about 5 hours, where the children, they danced and they painted and they rapped and they just mingled amongst one another, even though they didn't have parents or most times felt forgotten. What I had noticed through the years while serving, that we always catered to the smaller kids, and the teenagers seemed as if they had no place in the midst of the Christmas activities. So I was excited about that. And as the mayor mentioned a little bit earlier, on January the 6th, this past Saturday, was our soft opening of the Paramore Farmers Market. And I would say we had about 200 or 300 people that came out and attended, which I think for a soft opening was good. We had over 30 vendors that was there, from selling cupcakes, cakes, paintings, crochet, of course, produce. We had a band, we had poetry. So it was a event enjoyed by all. I look forward to the upcoming weeks as it grow and people in the city find out more about the activities. And as I stated, the children there at PKZ now, they are entrepreneurs, as the mayor stated, packaging and bottling and selling this black bee honey. And it comes in 3 different flavors. And as I stated earlier, well, I wasn't really joking, there's one flavor, and I apologize that I forget the name, but it is a holistic med that fights prostate cancer. And so it's amazing. Chris Castro said that it was amazing that these kids are selling it, because you can't find it anywhere in the nation almost. But you can find it at the Paramore's Farmers Market. And we also accept SNAP benefits there, where you can purchase your fresh fruit and vegetables. I have a District 5 table where all the community gardens in my district can come and sell their produce and their fruits or their crafts or baked goods. So I'm excited about that. I'd like to say a special thanks, of course, to the council's support, because this farmers market didn't happen by one. Of course, your leadership, Mayor, but most of all, Chris Castro. I know he's not in the audience, and Ian and Greenworks, and Lynn Nicholson, and Kay Rollins of Orlando City Soccer by giving us this space. This work is done by a community, and it's just exciting to see the things that are happening in District 5. As this morning when I stated, we have some things on the agenda, as we had a great year ending in District 5. Moving forward, we have more affordable housing. So on F1, I'm excited to see that the city is giving over $335,000 in 2 free lots to the Future Leaders Community Development so that they can build homes on McFall. I know many years ago, it's probably been about 15, 20 years ago, I think under your leadership, Mayor, that you started the first initiation of probably about 10 homes on McFall that are still two-story homes and single-family homes. So to see this new addition of homes going up there is great as we build around that Evictus Paramore Oaks piece there that sits on Connolly and McFall and Paramore that should be underway starting in February. I'm excited, I think it's in the hearings, where Bags is acquiring some land there in Paramore. As I stated earlier this morning, economic development is essential in this next 4 years for myself. So bringing Bags to Paramore, they have over 1,800 workers, and if I am not mistaken, below, they're going to make this their flagship office, and below will be retail, where we will have a commercial office space available. But the great thing about, it's almost like UCF, a fairy tale type of team. As Bags started out with 3 employees, downtown Orlando, the owner, Craig Matier, and 2 other young men that were in college, running back and forth, parking a few cars at one of the, I think, retail spaces here in the Orange Avenue. And to have grown from 3 young men into over 1,800 employees is phenomenal and homegrown. So I'm just excited that they are going to be in Paramore. Another thing about Bags that I'm really in support of them coming to Paramore and purchasing this land. A couple years ago, asked Bags to be a part of a job fair. It was a felons job fair in the Northwest Mercer Drive corridor, and they obliged. And they hired felons, those that did not have violent crimes or theft crimes of that nature, but they gave many there in that Northwest Mercer Drive corridor, Bishop Newton, an opportunity to work. And I see more of that in their office space, see more of that. They have so many contracts that doesn't necessarily interject with everyday people, but you can do baggage claims and things of that nature. So I'm excited about the opportunity. There is one thing I have spoke about, Mayor and staff, with Chris McCullen, is that with this purchasing of this land, that the funding that we make off it usually goes to the general fund, but we're doing so many great projects in Paramore, and I'm hoping that those funds are able to stay in a set-aside budget for continuation of building in Paramore, maybe purchasing land or some type of economic development piece. So I will continue working with Chris and asking that those funds, those particular funds of the selling of that land, stay there in Paramore of some sorts. So with that being said, when we continue to talk the discussion about economic development, C2, which is the sports entertainment district, I'm glad to see that we're moving forward on that piece with Orlando Magic. So that's all I have. Some great things, especially when it comes to economic development and housing happening in District 5. And thank each and every one of you for believing in District 5 and wanting to make an investment there. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner, and we'll move on to District 6, Commissioner Ings.
Thank you, Mayor. And I'd like to say congratulations to Commissioners Gray, Stewart, and Hill on, one, your reelection and then being sworn in today. For some reason, all 3 of you guys were nervous. Did you hear me?
Well, you were watching, Commissioner.
Oh,
I was
okay,
nervous,
all
that's
right.
why.
Nervous? Really?
But I know your constituents are glad that you're back in office. So again, congratulations. And I'd also like to make notice of January 9th, 2017, Lieutenant Deborah Clayton and Deputy Norm Lewis both gave the ultimate sacrifice. And thank you again, Chief, for promoting her to Lieutenant. That really meant a lot to not only the department, but the community as a whole. So that was a great thing, and we'll be there to participate in this walk with you, starting there at Hankins Park. So that's going to be great, too, for our community. I'd also like to mention, too, in the celebration of life of Barbara B. Bergstrom. Barbara passed away November 24th, 2017, and she is the founder and owner of Eddie Keys. And Barbara was a great person and the mother of Cameron Kuhn. And she had an organization whereby she had teas, and many of the young people were recognized, as well as members of our community. And Karen Dyer was one of those recipients of the Eddie Keys. Dr. Lucille O'Neill this past year was the last recipient of the Eddie Keys, and Barbara Bergstrom was a true great leader, humble person in our community. And I don't know if this picture, but this shows a great picture of Barbara and who she really was. The way she is there is the way she was when she passed away. And Barbara even told so many of her friends, including my wife, June, that she was going to meet Jesus. She was getting ready to leave. And it was as if Barbara just walked away from the face of the earth when she passed. It was such a surprise because we didn't know that she was in that realm. But again, to Cameron Kuhn and his sister and brother and the rest of the family, we say stay strong. The memorial service was held at the First Baptist Church, Henry Chapel, and it was very well attended by many people in the community that really knew her and appreciated her. Also, in reference to the council agenda, item C6, the MPB meeting minutes, in reference to Grand National Development, the project including the hotel and many other businesses and retails that are being built there in District 6. Sean McIntyre, are you still here? Oh, thank you, Sean. Thank you, Sean, for really investing in the city of Orlando. You saw an opportunity and you really took advantage of it. And I'm very happy because, Mayor, that Grand National street that was built by the state and started with the city of Orlando, it's right there at the front door of this Grand National Development. So that's going to mean a lot for our community. And then also coming up January 12th, right here at the Orlando City Hall Rotunda at 7 p.m., the annual Remembering Haiti event will be held here. We're looking to have a panel that talks about the TPS status of many people, the temporary protected status of many people that are concerned on whether or not they're going to be shipped back to Haiti. So we're going to be talking about that. We're also interested in trying to build some solidarity between our communities and businesses within the city of Orlando and Orange County and the Central Florida region concerning our Haitian population. So if you have an opportunity to come out and join us. This would be a great time. Also, ordinance on second read, number 8. I just want to say this. I know we haven't gotten there yet, but this is the digital billboard exchange program, and I'm glad we're at second reading. That means that we're going forward. Craig Swigert is here with Clear Channel, and thank you, Craig, for being involved in this and working with Dean Grandin and the community concerning this, corporate community concerning this particular issue. One other thing is the Martin Luther King Day commemoration that we did on last night. It was a great event. Mayor Dyer, thank you for your continued support with that. It means a lot to the community. And also, in our thanks, we want to thank Pastor Derek Williams, pastor of the Shiloh Baptist Church, for his continued support of this particular event as well. Mother Mary Maxwell was there on hand taking pictures as usual of all of us that were in attendance, and that's a great thing. She's a constituent in District 6, but yet she stays involved in our community, and I'm very happy and thankful for that. The program was a great program. We had the faith community that was there, the Baha'i community, the Buddhist, the Christian, free thought community, the Hindu, the Jewish, the Muslim, and the Sikh, and the Unitarian Universalist community. But the one thing that stood out was in the affirmation was we affirmed that ultimately a great nation is a compassionate nation. And that, out of all of the affirmations, really stuck with me. And Congresswoman Representative Stephanie Murphy provided the keynote address, which was the greatness of America. She did an outstanding job. And we sang our closing hymn, as always, and it is always very touching, and that is, "We Shall Overcome." And with that, Mayor, I move approval of the consent agenda.
Motion by Commissioner Ings, second by Commissioner Sheehan. All in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye. 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 Those opposed, so the motion carries, and that's the consent agenda. Okay, without objection, we're going to recess the city council meeting. We're going to convene the CRA. We have one item, which is the downtown streetscape matching grant for 100 West Livingston Street. Thomas?
Thank you, Mayor, and good afternoon, Mayor and Commissioners. As the Mayor stated, the sole item today is a streetscape matching grant at 100 West Livingston, better known these days as Ace Cafe. Thank you. I'll remind you that the Downtown Streetscape Matching Grant Program allows for the financial participation of the CRA in projects that improve the public rights-of-way for certain, and that comply with our streetscape guidelines for certain qualifiable costs. The applicants here can qualify for up to half of the eligible work, and that work eligible is for such things as sidewalk, irrigation, lighting, landscaping, etc. The applicant has completed phase 1, or Ace Cafe as we know it, which includes the adaptive reuse of 2 large buildings, and they've improved that you'll see the streetscape around the 3-acre site. Qualifiable costs include site work, perimeter wall, landscaping, irrigation, street lighting, for a total of just over $348,200, making the applicant qualified to receive up to half of that, which is $174,100.84. Part of that work, by the way, includes the expansion of the sidewalk that runs along Garland, which becomes now Gertrude's Walk, and a component of the Orlando Urban Trail. You see the site demarked by the star here at the confluence of North Garland and West Livingston, or Ace Cafe. This is a before picture along Garland, very small sidewalk, no pedestrian street lighting and the like. You see now much improved 15 feet of sidewalk and pedestrian lighting and a perimeter wall. Similarly, West Livingston before and afterwards, much wider sidewalk, and though you can't see it, landscaping, new trees, and pedestrian street lighting. The CRA Advisory Board, Mayor and Council, has recommended approval, and unless there are any questions, staff is requesting that CRA provide approval of the agreement with ACE North America LLC, providing funding of up to $174,100.84 pursuant to and contingent upon the terms of this agreement, and authorization for the chair and the executive director to execute the agreement, subject to review and approval, as always, of the city attorney's
Move to
office.
approve.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Hill, second by Commissioner Sheehan. Is there discussion or questions of Thomas? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. Further business, Thomas?
I'd like to see everybody at 6 o'clock. Go Knights, Church Street.
All right.
Thanks, Mayor.
Then we'll stand adjourned in the CRA, and we will convene the Neighborhood Improvement District Board of Directors meeting. One item, which is simply accepting meeting minutes from the Advisory Board of November 8, 2017. Is there a motion to accept those minutes?
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Sheehan, second by Commissioner Hill. Discussion here, none. All. favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. We'll adjourn the NID meeting. We'll reconvene the city council meeting if there's no objection. That brings us to hearings number 1, which is the 6th Amendment to the 4th amended and restated development order for the Lake Nona Development of Regional Impact. So that deals with the Lake Nona DRI. Is there a motion? Commissioner Gray, you want to put that motion on the floor?
Please, motion to approve.
Motion is second. I'll open the hearing. Is there anyone from the public that would like to testify related to the 6th Amendment? Then I'll close the hearing. Discussion among commissioners. Hearing none, all in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Second hearing is for disposition of city-owned property in Paramore. This is a public hearing for the disposition of real property in excess of $500,000 as required by Chapter 13, Section 7 of the city charter. Notice of the hearing appeared in the Orlando Sentinel on December 6, 2017. Approval of the sale will require a majority vote of all members of the city council. SSHP LLC is purchasing approximately 53.61 thousand square feet located at the southwest intersection of South Division Avenue and West South Street. The final square footage will be subject to a survey. The estimated market value of the property based on an independent third-party real estate approval is approximately $1.341 million. This is the property that Commissioner Hill referenced in her remarks during consent agenda and commissioner remarks with the Bags Company. At this time, we will hear from anyone in the public that wishes to address council related to this transaction. We'll close the public hearing. Is there a motion to approve the sale?
Motion approved.
Second.
And that includes authorization for us to execute the contract for purchase and sale and allow the real estate manager to execute all documents necessary to close the transaction. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. All right, Madam Clerk, it's your time of day, so we're going to move on to hearings, ordinances on first read, number 1.
Ordinance 2018-2, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Orlando, Florida, relating to the city's growth management plan, providing the winter 2017 package of growth management plan amendments pursuant to the expedited state review process, amending future land use subarea policy S.14.13, amending the boundaries of future land use subareas 7 and 14, amending the boundary of future land use subarea policy S.14.14, creating future land use subarea policies S.13.8 and S.14.16, providing for amendment of the city's growth management plan, providing for severability, correction of scrivener's errors, and an effective date.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Stewart, second by Commissioner Ortiz. Is there anyone from the public that would like to testify on this matter? Discussion among commissioners. Commissioner Stewart.
Mayor, I just want to express my thanks to our staff, to the work that they did, and they work with the consultants, as well as to the community who really had a great deal of input in this issue. This is a wonderful framework for us to move forward, and I'm really excited about seeing where that's going to go. So I want to say thank you to those who are involved, so especially to Dean and all the rest of your crew over there, Dean.
Further discussion. Hearing none, all in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Let's move on to hearings, ordinances, second readings. Number 1.
Ordinance 2017-67, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Orlando, Florida, relating to certificates of use, amending Chapter 65 of the Land Development Code to establish certificate of use requirements, providing standards for review and exemptions, amending Chapter 5 of the Orlando City Code to provide for civil penalties, providing legislative findings and for severability, codification, correction of scrivener's errors, and an effective date.
So move.
Motion by Commissioner Ortiz, second by Commissioner Stewart. Is there anyone from the public that would like to testify on this matter? Discussion among commissioners. Commissioner Ortiz.
Mayor, thank you. I just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you. This is something we've been working on for God knows how many years, and it's finally come to fruition. So thank you, staff. I know it has been an uphill I'm not going to say battle, but an uphill task. So thank you so very much. Thank you, Mayor.
Further discussion, hearing none, all in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Number 2, Madam Clerk.
Ordinance 2017-68, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Orlando, Florida, amending the city's growth management plan to change the future land use map designation for certain land generally located south of Hage Way, north of the El Claudia Allen Senior Center and Clear Lake, east of Riley Avenue and west of Mabel Butler Avenue, comprised of .27 acres of land, more or less, from residential low intensity to public, recreational, and institutional, changing the property zoning designation from one-family residential R-1 district to public use P district, providing for amendment of the city's official land use and zoning maps, providing for severability, correction of Scrivener's error, permit disclaimer, and effective date.
Move to adopt.
Motion by Commissioner Ings, second by Commissioner Sheehan. Is there anyone from the public that would like to testify regarding this matter? Discussion among commissioners. Hearing none, all in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Number 3, Madam Clerk.
Ordinance 2017-49, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Orlando, Florida, amending the city's growth management plan to change the future land use map designation for certain land generally located north of Dowden Road, east of Randall Park Boulevard, and west of State Road 417, comprised of 18.37 acres of land, more or less, from Community Activity Center to Office Low Intensity, changing the property zoning designation from the Community Activity Center District to the Low Intensity Office Residential District, providing for amendment of the city's official future land use and zoning maps, providing for severability, correction of Scrivener's error, permit disclaimer, and effective date.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt and at the same time offer my thanks to the applicant and development team for working with neighbors to come up with an amicable solution.
I'd like to second.
Motion by Commissioner Gray, second by Commissioner Ortiz. Is there anyone from the public that would like to testify? Mr. Willard, we all good?
Thanks, Jim.
Okay, it just shows when good, reasonable, cooperative minds get together, we can all work something out, right? Okay, and thank you, Commissioner Gray and staff, for working with the applicant as well to come out with a good transportation plan that everybody agrees to. All right, further discussion. Hearing none, all in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Number 4, Madam Clerk.
Ordinance 2017-70, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Orlando, Florida, amending the city's adopted growth management plan to change the future land use map designation for a portion of approximately 6,969 acres of land generally located north of the Orange Osceola County line, south of Dowden Road, east of Boggy Creek Road, and west of Narcoossee Road, from conservation to urban village on the city's official future land use maps, providing for amendment of the city's official future land use maps, providing for severability, correction of Scrivener's errors, and an effective date.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Gray, second by Commissioner Ortiz. Is there anyone from the public that would like to speak on this matter? Discussion among commissioners. Hearing none, all in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. All right, number 5.
Ordinance 2017-71, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Orlando, Florida, amending the city's adopted growth management plan to change the future land use map designation for a portion of approximately 6,969 acres of land generally located north of the Orange Osceola County line, south of Dowden Road, east of Boggy Creek Road, and west of Narcoossee Road, from urban village to conservation in part and from conservation to urban village in part, on the city's official future land use maps, providing for amendment of the city's official future land use maps, providing for severability, correction of Scrivener's errors, and an effective date.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Gray, second by Commissioner Ortiz. Is there anyone from the public that would like to testify on this matter? Discussion among commissioners. Hearing none, all in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Number 6.
Ordinance 2017-72, an ordinance of the City of Orlando, Florida, amending the Plan Development Zoning District regulations for the Lake Nona Plan Development, generally located north of the Orange Osceola County line, south of Dowden Road, east of Boggy Creek Road, and west of Narcoossee Road, and comprised of 6,969 acres, more or less, amending the Plan Development District's development standards, mix of uses, and conditions of development, directing amendment of the official zoning map series, providing for severability, correction of Scrivener's error, permit disclaimer, and an effective date.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Gray, second by Commissioner Ortiz. Is there anyone from the public that would like to testify on this matter? Discussion among commissioners. Hearing none, all in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. All right, Commissioner Gray, are you done?
I am, sir. I'll take a break.
Okay, we'll move on to some other people's stuff. Number 7.
Ordinance 2017-69, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Orlando, Florida, amending the city's adopted growth management plan to change the future land use map by expanding the boundaries of the downtown activity center eastward by approximately 0.5 acres for property generally located south of East Livingston Street, north of East Ridgewood Street, and east of North Roslyn Avenue, establishing a new sub-area policy for the same property to ensure a reasonable and appropriate height transition along Livingston Street, providing for amendment of the city's official future land use and sub-area policy maps, providing for severability, correction of scrivener's errors, and an effective date.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Sheehan, second by Commissioner Ings. Is there anyone from the public that would like to testify on this matter? Discussion among commissioners. Hearing none, all in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? And so the motion carries. Number 8.
Ordinance 2017-41, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Orlando, Florida, relating to billboards, amending Chapter 64 Orlando City Code to expand the digital billboard exchange program, to terminate the billboard replacement pilot program, and to allow GOBO projection signs in the downtown core sub-district, providing legislative findings and for severability, codification, correction of scrivener's errors, and an effective date.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Ings, second by Commissioner Stewart. Is there anyone from the public that would like to speak or testify on this matter? Did you turn in a card? I did not.
Yeah.
Hi, everyone, commissioners, mayor. Craig Swigert, Clear Channel Outdoor, 533 Old Winter Garden Road in Orlando. I just wanted to, say thank you all, and especially wanted to thank staff. We've been working on this, I think, for over a year. It's been one of those things that I know a lot of times when people are unhappy, they, like to voice their concerns, but when things go well, a lot of times praise is not, given adequately. And I'd just like to thank the staff, the planning staff, Dean, Jason, and Sherry, for working with us. We all kind of like, Commissioner Sheehan said earlier, sometimes we didn't always agree, but we always kept the lines of communication open. And it was a really great compromise in working together to understand each other's business and the needs. And, and able to do that, we were able to work on, some mutually beneficial solutions to this. And everyone, from, Kyle to the chief administrator's office, Byron and Kevin, everybody was always willing to listen and to work with us. So I just wanted to say thank you all. Thank you for your service. I really appreciate being able to kind of move this program forward, because this is the natural evolution of the pilot program that we did many years ago. It was successful, but it had come to its, as far as it could go, and being able to come back and to open it up for expansion was really great for us to be able to do some good work in the community, because, on the night that the UCF National Championship was won, I guess I should say, is within minutes we had a congratulations message up. And, that instant ability to service the community with our digital billboards for the industry is a really great service. We do a lot with Crime Line, developing messages for helping, catch criminals on the street, and being able to, do good work for community service. So I just want to thank you and thank the staff and everyone.
Craig, I would adopt your comments and send them back to you. The staff has been extremely complimentary about you and the industry in terms of being able to work together to fashion something that works for the city and for our goals and for the industry's goals. And I think this has worked into a great compromise, and it's a win-win for everybody.
Thank you. No, appreciate that. Thank you.
Commissioner Ortiz.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Craig, for your cooperation during all this process. I do have a question, and something just popped up to my mind because we are reducing the amount of signs around the city, are we not, Dean? So I guess my concern is, or Jason, thank you, as our city keeps growing and we keep expanding and new businesses come up, how are we going to address the amount of signs that will or may come up in the future? Right now we're dealing with the ratio of signs to convert, but in terms of the growth of population and businesses, are we going to stay stagnant with what we have? How are we going to measure when it's time to add more signage, or how is that going to come about?
Remember, though, Commissioner, these are the freestanding signs.
Right.
These are not the signs that actually are on a building or advertise the existence of a building at a certain location. This would be a sign that
Billboard.
is out here and
Yes.
is advertising something.
Exactly.
Well, advertising a UCF
monument
Knights
type.
National
Monument
Championship.
type. Yeah, I understand.
Jason,
So
can you
these
answer
are-
that more eloquently?
This is an off-site signage ordinance, not an on-site signage ordinance. So we have a ban citywide on off-site signs. What we have done in the past is we've piloted exchanges of billboards, which are off-site signs. If you turn in 4, you get 1 electronic sign, essentially. The places around the city were limited where those could go, so those have been placed mostly down by Millennium Mall and on limited access roadways and far outside of the downtown. So what we're doing here is expanding the locations where these things can go and expanding it to International Drive, Cinnamon Boulevard, Colonial Drive. But the rule is that in order to do that, you have to give 50% of the square footage in any particular area. So 50% of that sign area has to come from Cimarron Boulevard. So there's an ultimate reduction in the amount of billboards on Cimarron Boulevard and all those other different types of corridors. In addition, we also created, and it's affectionately a hit list of different billboards around the city. There's 16 of them that are mostly in Main Street areas. And you get a 3-to-1 ratio, a little bonus, if you do an exchange with one of those particular billboards that's on that list.
Okay, and I totally understand, and Mayor, thank you, but, and I understood the concept. It's just that I was just wondering.
Sure.
As we relocate or we come up with new roads, I don't know. I mean, are we banning this particular outside type of signs totally, or there's going to be a chance for maybe, depending on where we're developing, to erect any of those signs?
I think since we have an ongoing ban on off-site signage, this is the natural evolution of that exchange program, certainly. We'll see how many exchanges that this will effectuate, and I anticipate, we're already having some meetings being set up to do some exchanges with the billboard companies, and I think we're moving in a positive direction. If there's a temperature or tenor to do further types of exchanges, maybe we can sit down with all of you and look at what could be in the future.
Okay, thank you, appreciate it.
Sure.
Commissioner Hill?
Thank you, Mayor, and ad-libbing on to what Jason just stated. I know as we move this city forward into a true metropolitan city, my hope is that we do complete exchanges and the whole city is full of digital boards to where we're getting these flips and this information and wayfinding. I see this as something that's positive for our upcoming future versus these paper billboards that's so outdated, and you pass by and you see, the fading of it all.
Certainly, and I think with your feedback, we added the Orange Blossom Trail corridor into
Indeed.
the exchange program itself, and to some degree, because of our market being so tourism-based and special event-based, that it makes more sense to have digital billboards, so I can understand that those can be more desirable because it can get more immediate messages onto them.
Thank you. I thank you for helping me with that the last year and a half.
Further discussion, hearing none, all in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. Number 9.
Ordinance 2017-73, an ordinance of the City of Orlando, Florida, amending Chapter 56, City Code, Transportation Impact Fee by amending Section 56.02, intent and purpose to incorporate an updated impact fee study by amending 56.04, definitions by amending 56.10, agreements to limit the time frame in which credits must be utilized by amending 56.15, exemptions by amending Section 56.19, use of funds collected to increase the retainage amount by amending various other sections to provide definitions and clarification, providing severability, repeal of conflicting ordinances and actions, codification, correction of scrivener's errors, and an effective date.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Ing, second by Commissioner Sheehan. Is there anyone from the public that would like to testify? Discussion among commissioners. Hearing none, all in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, the motion carries. All right, ordinances first read, number 1.
Ordinance 2017-74, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Orlando, Florida, relating to roadway design and access management, amending Chapter 61, Part 2B, Orlando City Code to update the major thoroughfare plan, providing legislative findings and for severability, codification, correction of scrivener's errors, and an effective date.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Sheehan, second by Commissioner Ings. Discussion, hearing none, all in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. Number 2,
Ordinance 2018-4, an ordinance of the City of Orlando, Florida relating to the Florida Building Code, amending Article 1, Chapter 13, Orlando City Code to adopt the Florida Building Code 6th edition, 2017, providing local administrative amendments to the Florida Building Code and ultimate design, wind speeds for buildings and other structures within the city, providing for transmittal to the Florida Building Commission, severability, codification, correction of scrivener's errors, and an effective date.
So moved.
motion by Commissioner Ings, second by Commissioner Sheehan. Discussion, hearing none, all in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. Number 3,
Ordinance 2018-1, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Orlando, Florida, amending the city's growth management plan to change the future land use map designation for certain land generally located south of Rugby Street, west of Ann Arbor Avenue, and east of Edgewater Drive, comprised of .21 acres of land, more or less, from residential low intensity to office low intensity, changing the property zoning designation from 1-2 family residential zoning district with the traditional city, Wekiva specially planned area and appearance review overlay districts to office and residential zoning district with the traditional city, Wekiva specially planned area and appearance review overlay districts, providing for amendment of the city's official future land use and zoning maps, providing for severability, correction of scrivener's error, permit disclaimer, and effective date.
So moved.
Second.
motion by Commissioner Stewart, second by Commissioner Sheehan. Commissioner Stewart.
I just want to say another bit of thanks to Dr. Valle and the work that he's done. We've had some issues with the neighborhood. We took those to him, took those to heart. And so we're going to see some stuff coming back to us. I think it's going to be a good compliment to the community. I want to say thank you to Dean, our staff, and the work that we've done with Dr. Valle. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Further comment? Discussion, hearing none, all in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? So the motion carries, and that concludes the official business of the Orlando City Council for today.